crystallization process is just beginning to happen with this.
Okay, so I got this from down.
This blue that you're seeing, you're the first to see it. Minerals, great for your skin.
Tasman Lake is beautiful glacier lake near Mount Cook. Today I am going to do boat cruise in Tasman Lake. You can book from Hermitage Hotel website. It's 195 New Zealand dollar per person, including bus coach, trek and boat cruise.
So you can see these textured ice sheets on the mountain here. These are hanging glaciers on Mount Sefton. So Mount Sefton, it's New Zealand's 4th highest mountain. It's 3,151 meters tall. Now these hanging glaciers, they are constantly shifting around. So if you hear any kind of thunderous booms and echoes in the park, it's a sound of rock and ice that are falling off these glaciers here. Keep looking down that valley, guys. All the way down there, you can see part of Aoraki Mount Cook, New Zealand's tallest mountain. So that's 3,724 meters tall. Now, Aoraki in Maori means cloud piercer. So you can see today, true to its name, 2 out of 3 days, it is crowned with clouds. It actually used to be taller, Mount Cook. Back in 1990, 10 meters was sliced off the top of the mountain, and this sent down 14 million cubic tons of rock and ice. To put that into perspective, those shock waves were felt all the way in Wellington. Have a look to your right there, guys. That is Mount Cook Village. It's a pretty interesting place to live. Most of the guides here at Glacier Explorers live in this village here. At the moment, it has about 300 residents. So that's around the summertime. This goes down to as little as 100 in the dead of winter. The pole was used for the backdrop to the white city of Minas Tirith. So thank Anton on your way out. Have a look under the bridge here, guys. We have the Hooker River. This is fed by the Hooker Glacier, so it's glacier meltwater. You may be surprised by the color. It's this milky grey. That's to do with a sediment called glacier rock flour. So glacier rock flour, it happens when a glacier makes its way down a valley, and it pulverizes the soft rock that is here in the park and produces quite a fine powder. It means standing face slasher, so you don't want to come into close contact with this plant. You'll see a lot of it along the trail to the lake. It's got these long thorns. Now have a look to your left there, guys. Just poking out through here, you have the Wakefield waterfall. This is the highest permanent waterfall in the park. So it's 230 meters tall. This is a great reference point to see just where the Tasman Glacier was all those years ago. Now at the base, you can see there's not much of a river that's flowing out of it. So that's all that water that's seeping through the cracks in the rocks and going into those underground streams and rivers.
But it is pretty gusty. You saw the wind on the other side, that's going to hit us eventually. So any waterproof layers, pop them on, and then come grab a life jacket, phones and cameras, bring it with you. It is absolutely stunning out there.
Hey guys, how are we all? Good? Alrighty. Well, hello, I'm Callum. I'll be your guide out there. Just before we get out, check all your life jackets. Make sure they're all zipped and clipped nice and tight. No. Also want to know what groups you're in. Just 4, 2, 2, 1. Brilliant. Easy. And yeah, if I can get all those life jackets zipped in clips as well.
Warm when I'm out there.
Brilliant. Alrighty guys, we'll get you straight down, straight out. Follow on behind me. Way to go about it. Alright, first I've got 2 and then 2. Come on forward.
We are trying. You can just protect yourself. Alright? Hide under it. Try give it sides. 1 in the right. Yeah. You have to keep protecting your windshield.
Yep.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Good luck.
And
You can put it on your front and just a bit of protection from all the spray. I'm going to try my hardest for that not to happen, but it happens. Alrighty. Have a look to see what we're dealing with.
Oh yeah.
Cold? Trust me, we've swam in it multiple times. And to avoid you from falling in it, we just got one rule on the boat. It's really simply no standing up. That's just because we got some pretty active icebergs at the moment. We got lots of boats on the water.
Going 200 meters out of the lookout.
Copy. And it could mean at any moment I might have to do something like this. And just for that reason, pretty easy for you to fall in if you didn't know it was going to happen and you're all standing up.
Yeah.
Now, if you were to fall in, your life jackets, very obviously, they keep you afloat, but it's also how I will pull you back into the boat like a big fish, alright? Please keep them on, zipped, clipped, nice and tight. If I was to fall in, we take your phones and cameras out and laugh at me. What I want you to do is come up to the front here. There's a red cord. Just pull that down and out. It's going to cut the engine, then I'll swim back in. Alright, pretty embarrassed, but I'll continue on. If I was to be unconscious, not going to happen, but if I was, you hear my radio, just come up to it, press the button on the side, say help, 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 and someone will come.
37.
Awesome. Alright, that's all the safety stuff out of the way. We will get into it. Looks pretty hazy up there. That's all the dust getting blown off the moraines. So, yeah, it's definitely coming. Alright, it looks like the wind's finally picked the direction, which is good. But yeah, it's pretty hazy down there. And if you look up there, we got Mount Cook. And you got all that cloud that's just wisping off from the top. So that's our tallest mountain. And I don't know if Jade talked about it, Aoraki means cloud piercer, and that's the exact reason what you're seeing happening at the top. Now, down at the center of the lake, can't really see it. It's really, really hazy. We'll get a closer look later on. But there is just a real faint white wall that you see there. That is the glacier itself. Tasman Glacier. Well, and what we can see of it, or can't see of it at the moment, we normally about 11 kilometers of it we can see here. And there's another 12 kilometers that runs up around the right. So we've got about 13 kilometers of glacier here. Oh, sorry, 23 kilometers of glacier that we have here. And if you look either side of the lake, there's two big rocky walls. Those rocky walls are called lateral moraines. And right at the top of those rocky walls is where the glacier used to be 60 years ago. Wow. So all that rock is what the glacier had pushed out from its sides. And yeah, it used to be level with the top. And just 40 years ago, it was still all the way up at the other end of this lake. So in that 40 years, not only has it down wasted so melted from the top down, but it's retreated, so it's done both. This lake is 1.5 kilometers wide, it is 7 kilometers long, and it's extremely deep. So where we are now is the shallow end, and it's about 100 meters deep on average. These two icebergs first, tell you a bit about them, and we're going to go and make our way over to this big cluster here where we have a whole lot of blue. Does look a bit dirty, but this is a chunk of glacial ice that broke off, this particular one I believe 2 or 3 months ago from the glacier.
This is the Titanic.
Yeah. Now since it broke off, it's just been floating around the lake, and on a day like this with wind like this, right now our predominant wind is a northwesterly, so it's blowing into this corner, but if it was to swap and it was to go southerly, this iceberg can go the entire distance of the lake in a single day.
How long? A day.
A day, yeah.
How old is the ice when it's coming off?
Great question. It's between 400 and 600 years, depending on whereabouts it is. Yep.
Oh.
That's what we're getting to now. So what we can see is 10% of it, 90% is below the water.
Oh,
Yeah.
90% of the water, okay.
Which is crazy to think about. Just stack this on top of itself 9 more times up into the air, and that's when you begin to start building a picture of how big it is. Perfect water.
Okay, I'll try.
Nice and cold. Yeah, minerals, great for your skin. Probably get a bit of that later on. But yeah, the icebergs themselves, not only are they moving around the lake, but themselves are changing constantly. Brings me to my next point, which is tilting. That's what you just saw there. So a chunk of mass broke off from the side. So the iceberg lost that mass from the side there, and so what it's done, it's just tilted up. It's brought up more mass.
Oh, that's a tilting, man.
So it's brought up more mass from below, but just on this side, and that's tilting. So now it's at an angle. So that line you can see, that is the melt line of the water, so that's where it used to sit. What can happen is when they lose too much mass, they can be thrown completely off their equilibrium. And that's what's happened with this one. And what happens is they just completely roll around in the water. And it doesn't matter the size of the iceberg, they can all do it. So these bigger icebergs, at any moment, they themselves can roll. When they roll, the big icebergs will bring up. Let's make sure we don't become the Titanic. Those icebergs will bring up that 90% below the water. And sometimes these big icebergs can go down 60, 70 meters into the water. And when they roll, that 60, 70 meters comes up. And all of a sudden, the distance that we keep from the icebergs doesn't become so little. Yeah. And it's quite frightening to see, especially the big ones. And it can happen quite quickly. Some of the big ones can roll in a matter of seconds if it's thrown off balance enough. Yeah. And the reason I know that this one's thrown off balance is because it's quite clear. So we'll get in close and you'll be able to see into it quite easily. Here we go. So what you can see, it's pretty much everything in it. All those rocks. And ice, or this glacial ice, only looks like this when it has just recently been exposed to the elements. And you might also notice that there's this webbing that's starting to come through it. That's called crystallization. And it's those air bubbles inside beginning to expand and breaking apart that ice into smaller individual pieces. And so all these icebergs are made up of small individual pieces called ice crystals, and that's what makes them have that white appearance. So now that crystallization process is just beginning to happen with this, and it happens really quick. In an hour, you won't be able to look through this at all. It'll be completely white. So that tells me that this has either broken off from another iceberg or rolled within the last 20 minutes or so. So you will be the only trip that gets to see that. So that is just all the soot and rock flour on top that has made it that colour. But I don't want to waste too much time here. I want to get up to the good stuff, the good blue. So we'll make our way over there now. There you go.
That's nice.
So all this blue that you're seeing, you're the first to see it.
Oh my god.
And I would say, when I start taking photos, it's pretty cool. So this blue will be gone almost entirely by midday.
How often do they break off like that?
I've never seen it like this. So in 8 months I've been here, I've never seen. We had, so this is a different iceberg. These two I think are the same. I think they've just broken in half. So we had one really big iceberg that's been around for about 3 months, and this big crack started to form down the middle, and that crack got wider and wider and wider. And I think last night it finally split in two. Should give us a little more distance here. My main worry for that is there's a big chunk just on the side here. Yeah. You can see that big crack. I don't want that to fall away. I'm imagining all three of these are touching below. It's just going to be a domino effect. And yeah, this is the reason we have such a big engine on such a small boat. If these giants start to go, we're up and gone. But it is so cool. This is like a 1 in 1,000 sort of trip that you see. Yeah. So we've been waiting for these to go for months and months and months, and they've all gone at the same time.
How often do you have to like gun it out of the way?
Not too often. I had one trip when I was training.
slick. A little slippery.
Maybe that big one?
Looks fairly large too.
Oh no. I'm committed to it. I'm gonna get it, guys. Oh, yay! There we go.
Oh, yeah.
Alright, I'm sure you saw it in the water. We only went past it about 4 times. But you saw that it was only quite small in that water, and then you pull it up and all the rest comes out. But the stuff is perfectly good to eat.
I'll have one.
It's really slippery. But pass it around.
Oh, sorry.
Snap a piece off if you can.
Oh my gosh.
Mm.
Yeah, doesn't it?
Crystal clear.
I don't think we're getting more.
Yeah.
Wow.
You can see her life jacket as well.
Look at that.
Yeah, it's recording itself.
Oh, it's recording. Okay, sorry.
I got this from down. Thank you very much.
No worries. Alright, there's a fact.
That was a sacrifice for that.
Thank you. We're gonna remember that.
You're back at the hotel, that would be greatly appreciated. Thank you.